I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.
Well, today I have with me in studio Vicki Tillman of Seven Sisters, and we're going to let Vicki introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her background with homeschooling and as a professional helper, just like me, and tell us a little bit about her journey to homeschooling and her work. Welcome, Vicki.
I'm Vicki Tillman from Seven Sisters Homeschool and the Homeschool High School podcast. And yep, just like you, I in my earn some money hat am a licensed professional counselor. So that's what supported my homeschool habit through raising my 5 kids who are all now graduated from homeschool and are all graduated from college. So it's been a minute. And but we stayed in the homeschool community, me and the other girls of Seven Sisters Homeschool, because we felt like in the book of Titus it talks about the older women, helping the younger women, and we just felt like that we got all these years of experience in serving our community. Why would we just say good luck to you all? So So we have stayed around, and we write blog posts and share the curriculum that we developed over the years when there was no curriculum around, in the early days of homeschooling. And so we developed a lot, and the teens vetted it because they had opinions on what was acceptable to them or not. So, and we specialize in no busy work, no waste your time curriculum. It needs to teach what needs to be taught. And it's levelable. So for teens who want to dive into something, there's, extra material for them to use. So anyway, but mostly it's just blog posts on how to homeschool and how to live life while you're in the homeschool years, and encouragement. So that's where I am.
Well, I, for one, can say as a mom that you have now, you're on the other side of it. You have graduated 5 children, and they have now graduated 5 of those from college now. Thank you for coming back and reaching a hand down to those of us who are more than familiar with the phrase of the days are long, but the years are short. And we're just going, okay, can I do this one more day? 5th grade math nearly killed me last year. How am I going to get through 6th grade? But from the bottom of my heart, as a mom who is coming up behind you, thank you.
My pleasure. And the fun thing is, at this point, since I'm not spending my days, doing algebra with kids, I have more time to network with all my homeschool friends, and I get to meet the coolest people with our digital world. So I have, Kimberly is a friend who's all the way in Texas, and I'm in Maryland, and we have a few minutes that we can chat here and there. It's a blessing.
It really is. It really is. And we can pour into one another and encourage one another, because in all honesty, life does not exist in isolation. So homeschooling should not exist in isolation. There is so much comfort in community, and you just have to find your community. The beautiful thing that came, if anything good came out of COVID, it was the expansion of everything from telehealth to online learning to online communities. So there is a way for you should not do this alone. Don't go it alone.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Yeah, we do best in community of some form. Yeah.
Yes, we absolutely do. Well, I have actually listened to the Homeschooling High School podcast, even though I'm not there yet. You better believe I'm listening and taking notes for when it's coming. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay. It's all right. I can breathe. And even though I'm, a therapist who hasn't practiced in 11 years, and I at one time specialized in anxiety disorders, I still have my anxious moments too. And the thought of homeschooling a teenager is the one that, yes.
I tell you, before we started high school with our kids, there just a whole group of us were moving into that era together, and going like, how can we do high school? But it turned out to be the best years yet. They really were. So if you can do it when your kid is 11, it's even more fun when they're 16.
Thank you for that.
Mm.
Thank you for that. I love what the key part that I took out of this is a group of us got together, and you are a sisterhood, and that is what
Yes.
you emphasize in it with the Seven
Yeah.
Sisters. That yes, we are, and your community has branched out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because there are six of us, seven sisters. So there's
mhm.
me and Sabrina and Kim and Allison and Sarah and Marilyn. But we're seven sisters because the seventh sister is you.
Yes,
So all of our homeschool friends are our seventh sisters.
I love it. I love it so much. So be sure to visit. And we're going to get into more about why I've asked Vicki to come on and talk with us
Hmm.
today. But let me give a little plug for Seven Sisters Homeschool. Her website is sevensistershomeschool.com. And you can also listen to her on the Homeschool High School podcast.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I'm so excited to have you here. Today, I've asked Vicki to come on and talk with us as a fellow helper about something that we all tend to, especially as moms, and I'm going to speak to parents in general, but especially as moms, we seem to carry this weight and this burden, particularly more than others in the family, around the holidays. And
Yes.
homeschooling through the holidays, around the holidays, just sometimes being within the holidays in general can carry its own set of stressors. It can carry its own set of big feelings.
Yeah.
And for some people, holidays are not a happy time, they're a source of sadness. So, can you
Yes.
talk with us a little bit about some things to look out for that might be areas of concern during homeschooling during the holidays and some kind of ways
Yeah.
to cope when homeschooling during the holidays?
Yeah. So many different directions we can go on that.
Mhm.
So one is um, if you are homeschooling, you get to decide what that looks like over the holidays because you're the one homeschooling and there's not one right way to
Mhm.
homeschool. So if you feel pressure like, oh, we need to do math all the way up to the day before Christmas, and you don't want to do math up to the day before Christmas, just don't, like some families take December off and some take the week
Mhm.
off and some count making Christmas crafts and wrapping presents as, arts and crafts and fine arts on the curriculum. So,
Mhm.
don't get pressure on what you need to do over the holidays. It's nice just to do holidays at the holidays. And if homeschooling fits in that, you make it happen. So that's the homeschooling end. So, although my most favorite advice that I have given for years, because in my clients that I work with as a counselor or all the years of advising homeschool moms, sometimes they would tell me, it just is not feeling like a magical Christmas. And I always tell them, hun, that's only on the Hallmark movies.
It's
It's
true.
not, yeah, like this is real life and you got a real family. And that's not magical. It can be fun and it can be rewarding and it can be meaningful. But anytime you get a group of people together doing a thing, there's going to be stressors and messes. And that's because we are human beings and to allow that to happen too.
Yes. Oh, that is really such good advice. It reminds me very much of something my mother would say, "Don't let the cork spoil the wine." Um,
Oh my gosh, say that again. That's a whole meme.
don't let the cork spoil the wine.
Like,
That she
awesome.
wasn't even a drinker.
I know, but it's perfect
If you've
illustration.
ever opened a bottle
Yeah.
of wine and you get the pieces of cork stuck in it, you're like, oh, what am I going to do? I have to filters out. But, it might be a beautiful vintage and you might miss it.
Hmm.
So, yes, my mom was really
Yeah.
good, and my dad was too. At those, both of them are at home with the Lord now, but they left me with such a beautiful legacy of one-liners and little
It's,
truths and nuggets of wisdom. But yeah, you have to remember that. I guess it's choose your lens.
yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. The thing that I learned from my sister-in-law years ago. I have this precious sister-in-law who she's a second grade teacher And she loves children and she loves people. You know that second grade
Mhm.
teacher vibe, if you've ever met one. They
Yeah.
just tend to be like darlings, you know.
Mhm.
And so she's a darling. And so one time we were talking, and she said, "You know, the most important thing I ever learned in my life is to have a growth mindset." And I
Yeah.
said, "Well, tell me about that." And she says, "Well, like at Christmas, when I burn the turkey or the Christmas cookies are a disaster, then I think, well, what are we going to learn from this?" And I take a breath and go on, you know. And what that did
Mhm.
for me was give a chance to say, you know, something not going right is
Mhm.
not a catastrophe. It's an opportunity to model resilience and growth for my kids, and how to
Oh,
talk nicely to myself about the cooking, because you know one of the things is I'm not a great cook, so it was a good place to practice growth mindset.
right.
So, but that has carried me through holidays, because it really, I have found that holidays won't be perfect, and rather than that being a disaster, it's a story, and that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
That is so true. And you know what? You probably wouldn't even remember it quite the same if you didn't have that one little thing that
Hmm.
went sideways. Now you've got a memory.
Well, and you know the fun thing is, as kids grow up, especially like my kids are grown now. So when we're able to get together for holidays, they will tell stories about Christmases and days gone by, you know, when they're all sitting around the
Mhm.
Christmas tree. And it is not the, oh, it was so warm and fuzzy. And do you remember that warm and fuzzy moment? No, they sit around and laugh about the things that went wrong. And
Oh,
they get the biggest kick out of, do you remember when this happened? Do you remember when that happened? And they laugh and they laugh. So by then it's funny, you know, with enough time. So it is not a disaster at all when things don't go well. So if you can take that stress, like things have to be perfect, out of the equation, and just say, if there's a disaster, you know, I can grow from that and model growth, and know that my kids will grow up and they will talk about this and it'll be funny then. And it helps you get through and just enjoy the moments that are there.
that's true. That is so true because not only that you are modeling for them because I can guarantee you kids are not going to listen to everything you say, but
Oh,
they will pay more attention to what you do.
yes. Yeah.
Boy, have I learned that one.
Oh, isn't that the truth? You know, like you could tell them how to do things right, but when
Mhm.
you watch them, they are doing exactly what you do. Yeah, I've learned that. I had 5 kids to watch that happen with. So. Like, where'd you get that from? It had to be your dad, not me, right? You know. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I am most convicted of that in traffic. When I mean I'm not horrible, but I'm all gentle encouragement. It's a red light. Let's go. And then I'll go,
yeah.
Jonathan, I'm sorry. He's like, I know, Mom. Dad's going to teach me to drive. It's okay. You've said it. I know. It's okay, Mom. I just don't have patience in traffic. God's working on me. Always learning, always growing.
That's right. That's right. That's a growth mindset. Good job.
There you go. There you go. I'm getting a little better each time. But then I'll if I don't say something, I'll catch him in the back seat going, "It's a green light. It's the other pedal." And I'm like, "Okay." And then if my husband's with me, he'll just give me the side eye, and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." There I am in the back
Do you
seat.
want to know a trick that helped me? This happened accidentally with the red light thing, because there's something about Americans and red lights, is the light turns green and they have to think about that for a minute before they start doing anything. And that used to
Mhm.
really irritate me. It's like, why does this require thinking? But anyway, I was taking a continuing education class, and they were talking about when you smile, your body thinks it must be happy about something. Isn't that crazy? And so they suggested that when you hit a red light, use that opportunity to smile, and tell your body you're happy about something. And I thought, well, I'm learning this in my class. I should practice. So I started practicing smiling while I was at the red light. It's really cheesy. But what I found was my body wasn't getting as irritated because it thought it was supposed to be happy. I mean, it works. It's crazy. But anyway, that's a freebie there.
I'm going to take that one. I'm going to
Yeah.
take that nugget and I'm going to put that feather in my cap and I'm going to be like, I'm going to use this because I'm back and forth a lot between swim and music lessons. Mom's taxi. I'm at
That's parenting.
that
Yep.
age. Yes, it is. So I'm going to do that. Thank you for that. But it's true with the mind, you can start with the body or you can start with the mind. Clearly I need to start with the body so the mind will follow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was reading, or no, maybe it was a podcast. Anyway, one of the things I was reading on your body acts out something and your mind goes along with it. So they did a research project where they had people smile or hold a pen in their mouth. So it kind of made a mouth. And the people who read the funny, yeah, if they read the funny papers when they were smiling or had a pin in their mouth so their mouth was closer to a smile,
Right.
thought the funnies were funnier in the funny paper than people who were just reading it with a flat face. So
I'm going to do it.
Has nothing to do with the holidays. But anyway, if you need something to happen better at the holidays, put a smile on your face.
Actually, it kind of does. I'm going to go with it that it does because that's a useful tool to put in your toolbox for any occasion. Whether your toddler is having a meltdown over not wanting to take a nap, whether your teenager has found your last nerve and wants to pounce on it repeatedly, because they're going to do that. Sometimes your toddler will too. Sometimes it's your spouse.
Yes.
I'm alone today. Or whether you are sitting in traffic or whether you have a house full of relatives that you are trying to cook for and you want everything to look like Norman Rockwell when we forget that that's only in a painting.
Yes.
So, yes, it does. I'm going to say that it does. We're going to bring that back full circle because, you might, look a little bit like the Joker in your kitchen at the holidays. For those of you who are listening to this broadcast right now and you're not watching, hop on over to YouTube and watch the video for, I'm kind of an animated person anyway, but you'll see my total facial reactions to this. But it does make a huge difference. It really can. So I'm going to try
and you and I were chatting earlier today, and you mentioned that when you smile, it's kind of contagious, that other people kind of automatically smile, or if you look worried, it kind of, the mirror neurons pick that up, and people tend to pick up that same vibe. So maybe if we plaster a smile on our face, that it might be contagious with our guests, and they may think they're happier than they are, and then everybody be happy.
I'll take it. I'll take it because the holidays can be such a time they don't have to be. There's inherent stress that's to it because of, like you said earlier, the mindset. What do we have this preconceived notion or idea built up in our minds about what this is going to be? So keep our expectations realistic, which is kind of what I was picking up on what you were saying earlier. Keep your expectations realistic. As my mom or my dad would say, don't let the cork spoil the wine. When mishaps happen, you've made a memory, turn a mishap into a memory. And, start with the body and start with a smile. And then what the body does, the mind will follow.
Yeah. That's good advice, girls.
Well, back at you, because this is how, and it's too interchanging, and it's like I'll be honest, even though I'm a helper and I've studied this stuff, and you're a helper and you've studied this stuff, even when we're in our own situation at the holidays, we're not helpers. Then we're still going through our own bits of stress, and even though we know these things, we don't know that we know these things at that time. So we still have to be reminded to take care of ourselves, practice a little self-care, get our growth mindset back in there. Remember, this is a mishap becomes a memory. And it's
good stuff.
use these tools. Well, Vicki, I want to say thank you so much for coming on today and giving us
Yeah.
some very useful, practical tips that we can do at the holidays. If you're homeschooling at the holidays, remember, you don't have to be, you're not beholden to anyone else's standards. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to finish the book. You don't have to get through just one more problem. And you don't have to
Yes.
learn the entire history of Christmas and how they practice it in 12 different countries all throughout the month.
Yes.
What you want. And sometimes, just for me, what I've learned over the years, less is more.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Less
Mm-hmm.
is more.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that we focus on too at the holidays, we'll throw this in as a bonus nugget in our family that has actually helped me take the focus off of what's going on in my own head or in my own home, I'll be honest,
Yes.
is to put that
Yeah.
focus on someone outside of me. We're big on service in our home,
Yes.
and we're big on practicing our servant's heart and getting out there.
Yes.
Pick one little project. It doesn't have to be anything major. You don't have to go run everything for Operation Christmas Child or for buying
Yeah.
everything off of a Christmas Make-A-Wish angel tree
Mm-hmm.
or anything. Invite an elderly neighbor over for dinner or take them dinner if they can't get out.
Yes.
Have
Yes.
your kids, just to sing
Mm-hmm.
carols around to them or take something. Take that focus off of you and off of your home
Mm-hmm.
and into something that's bigger than you outside of your home, and have your kids do that with you. That's what we started doing.
So healthy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Godly and healthy. So it wins in several ways.
it
Yeah.
does. It does. Well, again, that was my little bonus caveat that I was going to throw in there, that
Awesome.
something that we do because I have a servant's heart and because I try
Yes.
so hard to encourage other people to
Yeah.
pour into service as well and make it a part of a healthy habit in their homeschools.
Yeah.
But Vicki, thank you so much for being with us today. And I'm going to put all of the links for Seven Sisters Homeschool and for the Homeschool High School podcast in the description box below. And I know that our paths are going to cross again
Yeah,
somewhere
they
along the
will.
way.
They will. Yes.
Thank you and the other
Thank
sisters
you
for
so much.
going ahead of us and reaching down a hand and pulling us up. We appreciate all that you do.
Yeah. Our pleasure. Thanks so much, Kimberly.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.